What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. So, there is a saying, I definitely heard it in Russian, in English most likely as well. It goes as following: the revolution devours its children. But modern Russia has refined the recipe into something much darker. This is not just about revolutions anymore. This is about a system so paranoid, so addicted to control, that it devours the very people who build it, defend it, and worship it. Not just the offsprings alone, every single one of them. You would think the opposition would be the main target, and they were in the very beginning. Journalists, activists, dissidents, sure, they suffer. But here's the paradox. The majority of victims are not critics at all. They are the believers. They are the ones who shouted Russia, Russia in the streets, who held the banners, who stormed the recruitment offices to sign up to fight and bleed for Putin's dream. And yet, when the machine needs fuel, those are among the first ones to be tossed into the fire. Something is deeply wrong with this already broken system of complete absence of loyalties. This is not a theory, it is a daily reality. And to understand it, you don't have to look at abstract politics. Just pick up a story of one woman in Donetsk, Elena Golikova, a medic who once believed she was serving history, who ended up now losing everything to the very republic she helped to create. That's not irony, it is a prophecy. Because her case shows us exactly how loyalty is worthless currency in Putin's world. From there, we move to other cases: crippled veteran, zealous activists, even founding fathers of the so-called Donetsk People Republic, DPR, all consumed by the monsters they fed. 4 stories, 4 chapters of betrayal, each one a reminder that in Russia's political casino, the house always wins, and the loyalists are always among the first ones to lose. Picture this: 2014, Donetsk. Streets filled with slogans, barricades, a new republic being born under Moscow's shadow. And among the eager faces, one belongs to Elena Golikova, an emergency medical dispatcher. She did not stand on the sidelines, she did not hesitate. She joined the pro-Russian rebels, walked into the occupied government building, stood beside the man declaring the creation of the DPR. She was not forced, she was not bribed, she honestly believed. Fast forward 11 years, that very same woman records a desperate video explaining how the DPR just stole her apartment. The home she bought in 2019 with paperwork notarized under local law, with money she had earned, gone in an instant. Why? Because sanctions had been slapped on the previous owners, and those sanctions were magically transferred to the property itself. Whoever owns it just bears all the problems. Retroactively, the 2019 contract was declared void, as you'd expected, no compensation, no appeals, just now that your home belongs to the state. And the state in this case means Denis Pushilin, this con artist who, as many of you guys already know, once ran pyramid schemes and, well, now apparently is in charge of the entire major city. Just think about the twisted logic here. The people who originally sold her the apartment probably sold it under duress, way below market value, and then fled the city, probably even the country. They lost a lot, yes, but they at least left with some money in their pockets. And no legal attachments to the questionable real estate, which in this case maybe is even more important. Golikova? Well, she lost her savings and her home in one stroke. Loyalty did not save her, it condemned her. Because in the DPR, being loyal does not make you untouchable. It makes you exploitable. And this is not an isolated incident. Property seizures have become routine. It is a new form of redistribution, a parody of socialism where the rich are not robbed to feed the poor, but the loyal are robbed to enrich the powerful. Water systems collapse, sewage floods the streets, yet Pushilin's apparatus is always efficient when it comes to paperwork that strips citizens of their very last assets. And here is the interesting part about it all. People who fled to Ukraine or Europe in 2014 are now branded traitors, as you obviously know. And, well, apparently they often ended up even safer. They lost homes but built new lives. Golikova, for example, stayed, obeyed, trusted, and paid the ultimate price. Her loyalty was never an investment, it was a liability. We mentioned before that this woman was not the only one to suffer the consequences of her actions. Will the destiny be any different for people who actually offered their lives for Putin's ideas? Let's figure this out in our next chapter. Now let's shift to another case. one that's equally parts tragic and grotesque. Meet Alexander Obukhov. In 2014 he marched into the battle for the DPR. In 2015 he lost a leg. That alone should have carved his name into the pantheon of regime's heroes. Yet when Russia went full scale in 2022, he, guess what, volunteered again. Imagine that, dragging himself back to war on crutches, determined to fight for the cause once more. By Kremlin standards, this man is a living saint, he is a living propaganda. But even saints apparently get forgotten and discarded. Enter his mother now, Allah. She was not just supportive, she was just as zealous, running referendum campaigns, shaming neighbors into voting for the Russian world, putting her reputation, her time, her very safety on the line for Putin's dream. And what was her reward? A 50-year ban from entering Russia. 50 years. She could have murdered someone and just gotten less. And the excuses, as you would imagine it, were absurd. Propagandists said maybe she was suspicious because Ukraine did not kill her when it had a chance. Others hinted that because Ukrainian authorities evacuated her during 2022 fighting, so, well, apparently she now must be tainted. She must be Ukrainian spy, basically, they say what they're trying to say. Because who knows what they told her while driving her away in the truck, right? Imagine being guilty of surviving, literally. Guilty of not being executed. Guilty of being literally alive. This is what decades of loyalty bought her. It took an outcry from pro-war bloggers, people who usually foam at the mouth for more bloodshed, to reverse this thing. Even Tsargrad TV, a pro-Kremlin Orthodox channel, had to lobby for mercy. Eventually, the Kremlin relented, handing Allah a Russian passport like they were restoring her sainthood. But the scar remains. The message was loud and clear. If this could happen to you, if this could happen to the mother of a maimed veteran, then no one is safe, no one at all. Loyalty does not protect you. It paints a target on your back, a very big red target. But these two cases, Golikova and Obukhov with his mother, are just regular people. And we know that the regime of Putin could not care less about the suffering of these peasants. Do government officials, specifically personally installed by Kremlin to expand Russia's interest into Ukraine, do they at least receive some kind of special, different treatment? Well, we're about to find out it in our next chapter. Now, let's pull in a bigger name, Pavel Gubaryov. The man once called the people's governor, one of the founding fathers of the Donetsk People Republic, a symbol of Russia's liberation in Donbass. If anyone should have eternal immunity, it's gonna be him, right? And yet, even his family was not spared. His brother tried to cross into Russia thinking his last name was a passport itself, and instead he was denied entry, expelled to Belarus, and then banned from entering Belarus for 75 years. 75. What was his crime? A Ukrainian flag posted by a WhatsApp group by an old classmate. Not even him, a person who he has probably not even seen for 20-30 years, did this. Well, for the Kremlin it was enough. That was the excuse. It is laughable but also terrifying, because it shows that the system is not sloppy, it is targeting these people deliberately. This is not about oversight or rogue bureaucrats, this is about institutionalized betrayal. It is about making sure that loyalty never becomes leverage. If even the brother of Gubaryov, the man who once carried Moscow's torch into Ukraine, can be exiled over a WhatsApp flag emoji, what chance does an ordinary person have? That's the beauty of it, from the Kremlin's perspective at least. Total control does not mean rewarding loyalty. It means proving day after day that loyalty guarantees nothing. The system thrives on keeping everyone off balance, everyone vulnerable, everyone afraid. And the cruelty is contagious. Belarus plays along, slamming its doors in his face for once again 75 years, as if competing to prove it can be even more brutal. This is not just about punishing one man, it's about creating a ripple effect. Families whispering to each other, if these people are not even safe, then who is? The betrayal becomes policy, and policy becomes propaganda. The broken system breaks even further. Now we've come to the heart of it. Why devour your own children? Why not simply punish the opposition, jail the dissents and then silence the activists? Isn't this enough? Well, not for this kind of system. Because punishing enemies only creates martyrs. It builds narratives of resistance. It shows a cause worth fighting for. But punishing loyalists, well, that breaks the soul itself. That spreads the message that no one is untouchable, not even those who gave everything. Think of it like a mafia movie. The boss does not just whack traitors. Sometimes he whacks his most loyal lieutenants just to remind the others who is in charge. It is not rational, it is not efficient, but it is effective. Because suddenly nobody feels safe. Everybody feels exposed. And fear, not loyalty, becomes the currency of power. Look back at Golikova, Obukhov, his mother, Gubarev. 3 or even 4 different people, 4 very different faiths, but all carrying the same morale. You can join the rebellion, you can bleed on the battlefield, you can literally help create the state. But when the system wants your apartment, your passport or your dignity, you will be stripped bare. That unpredictability is the ultimate weapon. It is what keeps the masses in line. Because if loyalty offers no protection, then resistance seems completely self-destructive. That is the absurd genius of auto-cannibalism. It turns loyalty into vulnerability, obedience into exposure, faith into a trap. And in the process, it ensures that the regime does not need to inspire, does not need to convince, does not need to deliver on promises. It only needs to keep feeding. It only needs to keep consuming. The victims do not matter, the message does. But here is the irony that history keeps teaching us. No system that eats its own can last forever. Such empires always rot from within, sooner or later. By devouring its believers, Russia is hollowing out its own foundation. The question is not whether the regime will collapse. The question is how many loyalists it will swallow before it finally chokes. And who will be there left to protect whatever's left of Putin? Who is even going to be there for him to trust and help? Well, there you have it, guys. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel for more news like this. Starting Monday, I will have several very special episodes coming on this channel. Once again, another reason for you guys to subscribe. If you want to support our work, there are links down below, for example, PayPal donations and Patreon memberships. Thanks so much for watching. See you on Monday.
We won't succumb to their tricks, the facade they try to sell. Their twisted words and feeble claims are resolve they cannot quell. We see through their lies, their feeble attempts to sway.